gentlemen, is there any better nickname in all of sports right now than the Big Dumper?
Mm, um, the most popular one, yes. Yeah, I'd say so. As far as popular ones go, I had a good one for Julie Van Loo, who recently got waived by the Valkyries and is now on the LA Sparks. But since she reminded me of Jason Williams of the Kings with her no-look passes and her fancy moves, I called her, and she's from Belgium, I called her Belgian White Chocolate.
It's not bad.
It's a really good one, except I never called her that publicly. This is the first time I've ever saying it, but it felt really good. So secretly, that's the best. It's the one I created. The Big Dumper's damn good, though.
Yeah, I don't think you can roll with a nickname you came up with. Like that would be like my
Why?
dad being like, because you can't just pick the one that you came up with and be like, that's the best nickname out there. That's lazy.
Come on, man. This is all
That'd be
about
like my dad.
self-confidence, Eric.
Yeah, I know, but that'd be like my dad being like, pick any ridiculous nickname he has for a Niner player.
Spicy Bucatini.
That's not it's not a nickname for anybody. But like, remember back in the day when he called Jalen Richard the Pocket Rocket?
Was that him? Did he coin that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, was it that popular to begin with?
I thought it was.
I don't think so. Okay, like, is the Grave Digger that popular of a nickname when it was Javon Hargrave playing for the Niners?
I wouldn't say so, but I think your dad comes up with terrific nicknames, Derek.
Well, that's very nice of you, but I would differ on that one. And to answer my own question, the Big Dumper, I mean, that's the best because everybody laughs at it. And it's appropriate for how Cal Raleigh is a big man, a big man with a big booty. But he also hits dongs.
Yeah. I tried in every way possible on KCBS to not say it's because his ass is big. You know, it's just like, why is he called the Big Dumper? And, well, I'm like, well, it's in the name. Does a lot of squats. He's a catcher. You know, just read with that what you will.
You could also say, though, he's leading the majors in home runs and say that he dumps home runs.
Yeah. Yeah. The big unit, the big hurt, the Big Dumper.
Yeah, no, I think it's by far the best one because he's a really good player leading the majors in home runs right now, won the home run derby the other night. And it's funny to say, Big Dumper.
Yeah, it's great. How long has he had that nickname?
Quite a bit of time because I know a couple of years ago the Giants were playing the Mariners and Dave Fleming referred to him as the Big Dumper. And that's when I first heard it, and I was like, that's a fantastic nickname.
If you hadn't heard, ESPN lets you know 1 billion times. He kept calling him the Big Dumper. They didn't even call him Cal Raleigh or Raleigh. It was the Big Dumper every time. Even the final call. The Big Dumper wins the home run derby.
Well, I mean, that's how people are going to remember him.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
Yeah. And, I mean, everybody like, that's a good way to say someone has a big ass. They got a big dumper.
I do like the polar bear for Pete Alonso. I like that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I think that's pretty cool. We don't really have a lot of nicknames anymore in sports, really.
They're not as clever as they used to be. One of my favorites, even though he was a Chief, I like Dante Hall being called the human joystick.
That's great.
I think a lot of people just get lazy and do initials. Like LT was, or LaDainian Tomlinson was LT, but you ask a lot of people, and LT was Lawrence Taylor.
Right.
Clay had like funny nicknames like Scaffolding Clay or China Clay, but like, none of them really stuck.
Yeah, none of them are these national nicknames that you hear of in basketball. I don't know, like the Big Ticket or the Mailman or
Mailman was good.
Or the Round Mound of Rebound or the Babe. I don't know. I also got a text from my boss who is a total my supervisor. I don't know if is my boss. I don't know. Anyway, he's a huge baseball fan, longtime baseball fan. So he's like kind of a historian when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
And he said, he sent me an email. He's just like, the Big Dumper. Are we really going with the Big Dumper? And then he started listing off names from, no earlier or no later than the 1970s. And I'm like, yeah, it's the Big Dumper. And he's just like, it's not magical. It's not like the Say Hey Kid or uh, the Babe, or I can't even think of other ones.
Okay, well, I mean, come on now. Like, we're talking about nicknames that will stand the test of time in the Say Hey Kid. And I don't even know if Cal Rowley's going to be like those type of players. Like,
Right.
even Randy Johnson, in my opinion, is a better player than Cal Rowley. But like, that's stupid to compare. Um, it's a funny nickname for the moment, and I think it's appropriate for how big of a burly guy he is. And yeah, he's got a big ass.
I think we've hit something, Derek. I think really we need to bring back nicknames. We need to stop with the initials and just the solo names. We always just call them by their solo names, not the actual nickname. Like Shohei Ohtani is just Shohei. Some people call Steph Curry Chef Curry, but that's just because it rhymes. I don't know if that's like a mythical nickname. You know what I mean?
I mean,
there's not like the like he's not called like the Wizard or something because of what he does with the 3-pointer. I don't know, something crazy like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. We need more clever nicknames, and I say clever. I say clever because, my father. You got to come up with something better than Slick Rick for Ricky Pearsall. And Slick Rick doesn't mean Rick James, by the way. Anyway, just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We're coming to you on a Wednesday night, and we have a ton to get to. We have a lot of baseball to discuss with the Home Run Derby and the All Star game. It's a swing off, everybody. It's a swing off. Talk about that. Talk a little NFL with some contract disputes and guys getting paid, and some NBA news as it pertains to the Warriors, and a little bit on the Clippers getting a new player today, and LeBron James just being a big fat diva. I'm still at my mom's place in Del Boca Vista. No drink, no stogie this time because I realize it's incredibly difficult to pay attention and hold a stick mic while you're smoking a stogie and drinking. And it's also incredibly hot outside, and I'm just going to hydrate. And I'm also just really full from the dinner I ate. So no stogie, no drink, just hydrating.
What'd you have for dinner?
I had myself a nice Newberg, which is, I guess, a seafood dish with a little bit of jasmine rice, shrimp, some mussels. Yeah, it was a nice seafood dish. Tasty.
But it's called Newberg?
It's Newberg.
Newberg.
I didn't even know what it was either. I had to look it up before I ordered it, and I was like, that looks tasty.
So it's just a dish called Newberg?
It's a seafood Newberg, basically like a gumbo.
Seafood How do you spell that? I'm curious now.
Just Newberg, Newberg. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tasty.
Wow, that's fancy stuff, man.
I know, dude. I've been eating like crap this whole week. I'm gonna have to just hit the gym immediately when I get back because I've eaten nothing but just pasta and bread every day for the bagels we get, and Italian food, a lot of ravioli. I need to get back in shape when I get back because I
haven't been I
got myself a big dumper right now myself.
Oh, I hear you. I'm the same way. I think a change has to be made, even though I shouldn't care and no one else should care. But I think a change has to be made when I'm getting called JD Vance, AJ Pierzynski, or yesterday when and to be honest, I'm not going to have much on the All Star game because I had it with the sound off and I saw a lot of clips later, but I'm not going to act like I watched it live. I went down to meet a couple of friends, one of them who is in from Texas, my guy Nico, who also hit me with this Patrick Bailey bobblehead at the top. You can't really see it, but he thinks he look like Patrick Bailey too.
I see it a little bit.
So, I take that as code for, hey, you're looking a little tubby. And then my friend of, I think, what am I? They're 32. So my friend of 23 years, haven't seen him in months, really since my wedding, maybe once after that. But haven't seen him in a while. And just one of the first things that comes out of his mouth, oh my God, Steven, you're fat, man.
Jesus.
You're fat, bud.
What is he like, Lorenzo Neal? Good Lord.
It hits a little different when it comes from low, because that guy's a professional athlete, and when a professional athlete tells you you're fat, well, Lowe's been telling me I was fat since I was like weighing in at like a $165, and I just had like the love handles, for a 165 pounder.
He just liked to fuck with you because he was huge and muscular, and he was like, "God, Steven, you're fat.
You fat, bro. Little chump, you little." I remember one time he couldn't even think of an insult on the air, and because we were just going back and forth, I was just jab after jab, and then he tried thinking of one, but he couldn't really get it out. So he's just like, "Yeah, you little fat boy."
Sounds like Low. Well, you know what? Now you know what it feels like when you tell me I look like Brian Daboll.
Yeah, well, that was more of a joke. That wasn't a real one. I mean, it was just because you guys had more bald.
No, Steven, you think that all bald people look alike?
Yeah,
you baldest?
Yeah, I know.
That's extremely ignorant.
If you didn't have your beard, you'd look like John Malkovich.
Oh man, and I just watched John Malkovich the other day in Burn After Reading. No,
man, it's just fun. It's just like when you get told in code, "Hey, Steven, you're looking a little round," and then your friend of a long, long time ends up just telling you, "My God, man, what happened to you? Who ate Steven?"
Yeah, that's a little rough. He hasn't seen you in quite some time.
Yeah, he hasn't seen me in a while.
Yeah. Well, also, as Lauren Epps. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Are you not going to ask about this headband? I need to take it off now. I look stupid.
I was going to, but like I wanted to let it simmer a little bit and see how the audience would react to it. But you're rocking that thing, and I'm definitely going to ask you about that. But as Lauren F says in the chat here, still saying being bald is sexy. That's a good thing to know, Lauren F. And we got people in the chat tonight. We got Lauren F. Thank you for joining us tonight. We got Rocco Nuero as always. Pat H. Tacky. I believe that's it. We'll see everybody else. The usuals pop in.
But I've told you this before, dude. You rock the bald well,
I appreciate that.
And you own it instead of like with other people who let it grow out on the side. Like that's the ultimate terrible look is when you got long hair on the side and it's just the top that's bald. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's just
the old Terry Bradshaw, the old horseshoe.
Yeah, in a way, Terry Bradshaw made it work, though, did he not?
Yeah, but guys, you couldn't pull that off today. Like that was like a classic 70s look. It looks great in like grainy NFL films footage. But if you saw like today, like crystal HD of Blake Bortles with that type of hairdo, you'd be like, dude, you gotta fucking shave that.
Yeah. Like Trae Young. It's like, dude, eventually you're gonna have to make a move here. You know what I mean? Like it's thinning out on the top. LeBron, but LeBron could just get implants, like or hair plugs or whatever you call it.
Yeah, he could definitely do the Dion or the Dion, but like Dion looks like Guru with the hair he has now, but Dion didn't have that for a while. KD doesn't give a shit. He has a huge gigantic bald spot on top of his dome.
Yeah. I guess you need you need someone in pop culture who makes bald cool. Maybe it's Malice from Clips. Who's making bald look cool right now. He's all over the media, right? Doing the media tour for Only God Can Save Us. He looks good with the bald thing because Michael Jordan made bald cool.
So yeah, I would say though
in fashion.
There's only a few white guys that pull off the bald shaved head look. I would say Jason Statham and me.
Just you two.
And The Rock, I guess. You could throw him in there.
The Rock, yeah. How about Mark Strong? Underrated bald guy.
The dude from Severance? Yeah, he's not bad.
Which dude from Severance? You're not from Severance.
Who am I thinking of? Who the hell is Mark Strong?
Mark Strong is the guy from like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the British dude.
I'm not gonna know who that is, man. I'm thinking probably Jeremy Strong.
Oh, you'll know, dude. You'll know. I'm gonna pull up a pic.
Is the dude?
This guy.
Okay, go ahead, show him. Oh yeah, I mean, he's a classic villain.
Yeah,
but he has like that butler look, like like a sinister bald guy.
Yeah, he does play an evil looking dude in every single movie that he's in.
Okay, let's stop beating around the bush. What the hell's on your head?
This is my new sleeping apparatus, Derek. This is my fix to my loud upstairs neighbors, and it's not their problem. Like, it just so happens that the layout has it where our bedroom is right below their living room. And for whatever reason, they move and they talk a lot through the night, really until they go to sleep. Like, you can hear it. It's very easy to hear. There's no TV going, and they're constantly moving, very creaky. We live in an older building. So I got this headband, which has like a play, volume, music. It's Bluetooth. It's got headphones in there, and you just wear the headband with the headphones on the side. I'm a little worried though, because I'm a side sleeper, you know, and I'm a little worried that this headphone could cave into my ear and maybe destroy my hearing. So I'm a little worried about that. It's a new sleeping thing though, dude.
It doesn't go over your eyes.
It doesn't go over the eyes. No, it's purely for the ears.
Okay. Well, my mom gave me a blindfold. I guess a sleeping mask or whatever the hell you call those things. So I may try that out, because I'm realizing that if there's like a little bit of light that peers through blinds, it'll make me get up. And it's really in the morning, like when it gets a little, like the dawn of the day, where it's like, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and just that little beam of light just gets through your curtains. For whatever reason, I'll wake up. And last night, put on the sleeping mask and managed to black out my curtains completely. Had a full 8 hours of sleep. Felt fantastic. So that may be the way to go going forward.
Wow. So the classic cover, which has been around since forever.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's simple, but that's probably the way to go. And yeah, I can't do earplugs because I just feel weird, like I'm congested, like there's something weird in my ears. Yeah, I know, but that's like a nice technical way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Lauren has a point though. It does look like I'm going for a run. Like this does make me look like I'm about to put on like the suit. I look like the guy that has all tight fitting stuff and jogs at the corner when the light turns red and you're just waiting for the crosswalk to go. I'm looking like that guy that jogs in place.
Yeah. You know? I mean, respect to those guys, but also I also think to myself, like, just stop.
Why?
Just stop.
What? You gotta keep it moving.
Yeah, I know. That's probably the right thing to do, but also I'm like, it's pure jealousy, actually, at the end of the day.
Running in place, just checking the watch. By the way, okay, I'm going to take this off. By the way, speaking of a watch, I got a sick watch. Oh, you can't really see it. A sick watch tan.
Yeah.
At the old game on Sunday. Watch tan.
Nice.
Yeah, man. It's not really that visible on the camera, so that was disappointment. It was bad. Well,
I'm glad you're getting a little bit of tan.
Thanks, man. That's just a great response. Let's move on. That was a dud.
Yeah, I think so. Let's actually talk about things we plan to talk about. So, the home run derby went down on Monday night, as we talked about. Cal Raleigh, who right now has 38 home runs at the deadline, he won. No surprise there. I think the first catcher to ever win the competition. And then last night was the home run derby. The All Star game. And I never asked you. I mean, I thought it was fun, but Clayton Kershaw was mic'd up when he was on the mound. Yeah. He got the special, what do they even call it? Like the Rob Manfred selection. I mean, he was the one that picked him, but it was kind of like the way that I described it was like Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki going to the All Star game a few years ago when they were going to retire. I don't think Clayton Kershaw's officially announced that he's retiring, but it's kind of seeming that way, but nothing official. Everyone keeps saying like this might be his last All-Star game ever. But he was mic'd up. That was fun. What do you think about him getting selected along with Jacob? I'm not going to know who this guy is. Jacob Mizorowski. He only has like 5 starts and plays for the Milwaukee Brewers, but he got selected as well as a fill-in.
I wish I could tell you I had a strong opinion on that where I'd be pissed because he only made 5 starts, but the dude threw 103, and I'm not sitting there wishing that it was going to be someone else on that mound. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, all right, sweet. Like, I'm not really some all-star gatekeeper who thinks that only certain pitchers should be allowed in just because they have the statistics. If Jason Mizorowski's voted in the Miz, then do it. Like, I'm all for
the Miz.
That's another good one. I'm all for growing the game with this younger generation of players. Because with guys like Kershaw, I think John Smoltz made an interesting point. In 3 years' time, you're moving on to this next generation of pitchers. And I think you got guys like Paul Skeens, but other than that, you don't really have like a lot of the Justin Verlanders, Max Scherzers, Clayton Kershaws, who you feel like are going to be around forever performing at a high level. Like, you could tell with those guys back in the mid 2000s. I think Kershaw was the latest to get in when he was drafted in 2008. But you don't have a lot of that right now in terms of pitching. And pitching seems to be the dominant thing in baseball, like getting strikeouts and all that sort of stuff. So I'm all for growing whatever facet of the game they need to. And if that means bringing Mizorowski into the All-Star game, fine. At least he's getting talked about. And at least the All-Star game is getting talked about. This is the only thing that Major League Baseball has going for it right now. This is the only thing that could put it in a conversation that's actually a talking point in the national media. So again, I'm all for it, even if it gets a little bit of publicity for Major League Baseball. I think it's smart even to put them in. They probably knew they'd get that kind of pushback.
Yeah, I mean, they have to go outside the box, and we'll get to a lot of things that were unconventional for the All-Star game. But yeah, for everything that went down yesterday, I thought it was a big success. I thought that the Hank Aaron tribute was awesome. The players being mic'd up, Brent Rooker, who was it, Jake Wilson with the A's doing an interview with his dad during one of the innings, and then the swing off. And, initially when the game was tied, I was thinking, oh no, are we going to have a 2002 situation where that game in Milwaukee ended in a tie because both managers didn't want to use their bullpens up? These guys had to play a game in 3 days on that Friday. Like, there's no reason to keep going. When I was a kid, I liked the whole "this one counts," where the American League, if they won like 7 in a row, whatever ridiculous streak it was.
11 of the last 12.
11 of the last 12. Where if you won the All-Star game, then you got home field advantage during the World Series. And now I would not be in favor of that because I think that's ridiculous. It's all about the regular season, and that shouldn't be dictated in an exhibition game. But when you have extras, I think it's unique to have a swing and shindig, baby, a swing off, something unique that's going to end the game because you don't want to see this game go any longer. Like, I thought it was fun last night. I'll be honest too. I wasn't intently watching. I had it on the background. And when the game was tied up, I was like, all right, this is going to be interesting. And then I guess there was a mix up. The PA announcer told the people of Atlanta that the game was going to end in a tie after the 9th inning or the 10th inning. And everybody in the crowd booed. And then Joe Davis was like, that's not true. No. We're going to have a swing off. And initially I was like, what the hell is that? It's basically a home run derby. And I know a lot of people, not a lot of people, it could be a mixed reaction. The people that I saw on Twitter that hated this were Bonte and Guru. Guru had a very serious video that he posted last night. Did you see it?
Oh, I did.
Yes, where he dropped 2 F-bombs, being like, this is not the fucking home run derby I grew up with, man. And Bonte felt the same way. And I'm like, guys, like, it's the All-Star game, not home run derby. It's the All-Star game. Like, you want these guys to keep playing and playing all night? That's ridiculous. And I know that it's a fun exhibition. It's probably, next to the NHL All-Star game, it's the probably most authentic sport that replicates what it is in the regular season. Like, the Pro Bowl's unwatchable. The NBA All-Star game's unwatchable, in my opinion. This was fun. This was different. And it went quick. And, yeah, you had, Kyle Schwarber hitting 3 bombs right away. When he was at bat to win the series, or not win the series, win the game and get him MVP. So I have no issue with it. I thought it was fun. And do I want a regular season game or a postseason game to end that way? Fuck no. But for an exhibition game, yeah, there's no harm, no foul in that.
Yeah, the Ballers do it. The Oakland Ballers do that.
Yeah, they do.
It's a great success. But it's been there since 2021. They just haven't used it. I think you need to look like, I'm not going to respond to I not going to respond to Bonte and Guru because they don't have a chance to retort. I did think it was a little ridiculous, but again, like they're not here, so I'm not going to go commenting on whatever their takes were. I like how Bonte used the word disgusted. I was disgusted by that home run derby.
Sorry, I love Bonte. I love Bonte.
Go look at Scotty Scheffler and what he said about his sport. Just sometimes ask yourself, what's the point of being disgusted by that? It's an exhibition, dude. It's fine.
Exactly.
But I think you need to look no further than the players' reactions because the players seem to love it. And I'm talking about both teams. You had each team outside of the dugout, like 3 swings, pretty high stakes for all things considered. I have a feeling because a big talking point was how players left to go back on the team plane and then head to their respective city to get ready for the second half of the season. That happens a lot with All Stars. But according to Dave Roberts, he apparently didn't even tell the dugout. He had a predetermined lineup for it. He had already selected one, but he literally told his dugout at the end, by the way, guys, we're doing a home run derby to close this thing out. It's not going to extra innings. So he had made a predetermined list, but didn't even tell the team until the very end. Didn't come to think of it. You know, like Kyle Shanahan and overtime stuff. Didn't come to think of having to tell his team not because he forgot the rules or whatever, but just because he didn't feel like it was a pertinent information. I'm sure if Shohei or Aaron Judge had heard that there was going to be a home run derby at the end, then maybe they would have stuck around. I thought it was a fantastic way to close it out. I really did. Like, I don't know why anyone could be mad at that, you know?
Exactly. Like, there's a lot of baseball purists. They're going to be like, that's not the traditional way to end a baseball game. And I'm like, it's not a traditional baseball game. It's an exhibition. Who cares? Now, would it have been more interesting if Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge were involved? Yes. It's also way more interesting if you have the best, the best players involved in the slam dunk competition or the best three-point shooters every year involved in the three-point contest. But I'm realistic in that some players are just not going to agree to do that. You didn't have Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani in the home run derby to begin with. I did think it was funny that Jeff Passan made that a critique right off the bat when they went to the extra innings in that swing-off portion of the game. And then Brett Rooker tweets at him being like, am I not good enough for you, Passan, huh? And then Passan jokingly responds back being like, he called him a loser, but in a joking, way. I guess you can't really pick up on sarcasm on Twitter, but, people should know by now Jeff Passan likes to fuck around. And he had to explain himself at the same time. But I wanted to talk about how some people reacted to Pat McAfee being involved with the home run derby and introducing the players and having fun with that. And you also had him getting a shit ton of interviews during his show on Monday, where he interviewed Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani with an interpreter. And it's clear that people see his show as a big deal. And whether you take it seriously or not, like I will admit, when it moved over to ESPN, I was like, what is ESPN doing? And do I mock it sometimes? Yes. Do I think that McAfee really gives a strong take on things? No. But he's a cheerleader for the NFL. He'll be critical of some things. But when it's the offseason, there's not a lot to talk about. He resorts to the NBA and he resorts to baseball, and that's what he should do when you're on ESPN in the offseason. So now he's gotten some legitimacy by having Shams Charania on his show and getting all the insiders. Jeff Passan was on the show, and that helps his credibility with baseball. Also, having those big-name players helps his credibility as well. It's not like he was asking the most detailed baseball questions. But, obviously baseball wants to be affiliated with him because they see him as a big deal. Same reason why LeBron wanted to go on the show and talk with him. But then I saw, do you have that tweet from Bob Ryan that I sent you? Where I knew that a lot of people were not going to be happy about that because baseball fans are the hardest fans to appease because they don't want to change anything. It's, America's pastime. If you change it, then you're trying to accommodate a new audience, and baseball's not about that. So, yeah, Bob Ryan tweeted out, totally ridiculous. It's baseball. not WWE. Keep McAfee on daytime TV where fewer will be subjected to him. Look, I respect the hell out of Bob Ryan, but he's an old school sports writer, and some people, like, I don't know what Buster Olney thought about it, or Tim Kirchin, or a lot of these baseball traditionalists, or Bob Costas. But the truth is, baseball is not as popular as it used to be. And it's definitely gaining popularity this season. I don't know why, but more people are watching this season. But it definitely is trying to attract a new audience that is not, that it wasn't just the same old fan that's going to watch all 162 games. People's attention spans are shorter, and it's not going to be the same. So, bottom line, what I'm saying is, I criticize McAfee for a lot of. I know I'm going on a Greg Papa rant here. Basically, what I'm saying is baseball can't complain that people aren't watching as much, and then when they do something different, then be like, no, I don't like that. That's new and different, and I don't like that McAfee's doing this stuff. Stay out of my baseball.
Yeah, it's just, I'm kind of baffled when people literally ask, why do they keep shoving Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith onto our television sets? And that's an old guy thing, just to say television set in the first place. Why do they keep putting them on TV and just making it about Stephen A. and Pat McAfee? Well, because they're clearly a draw. I don't know where the numbers are coming in, but ESPN doesn't just do that because they have run out of talent. They are doing that because the numbers say to do that. It's something you and I have learned in radio programming. Ratings can definitely dictate, what happens in part. And I think they see a lot of things that we don't see. And a loud majority that's on Twitter talking back against ESPN and their decision-making to put these two guys front and center of everything, including awful announcing, who says, including awful announcing, who basically said, like, we need a break from Stephen A. Smith, which is true, but ESPN clearly sees something there where they find that a lot of people go to Pat McAfee or go to Stephen A. And, it's just you, the random Twitter user who says that he can't stand it or she can't stand it and get him off my screen. It's unwatchable. Well, Aaron Judge goes on his show, maybe the most popular baseball player in the last 25 years, along with Shohei Ohtani. Shohei went on the show, by the way.
Yes, he did.
They're saying that we love it. We as athletes love it. And I think guys like Bob Ryan in particular might be a little jealous of that, or not jealous of that, but think that goes against journalism. Remember when we had the late, great Michael Urban on? Yes. And he said that a lot of people in the A's media didn't like him because he was kind of befriending the A's players, which goes against any ethical journalistic standards. And I think Pat McAfee goes against that. And ESPN has been all about journalism. But the fact is, players like him, the younger people like him, and that might take up a large part of their audience. So I'm kind of indifferent to it. Like, I get why ESPN's doing it. Do I want to watch Pat McAfee all the time? I've told you time and time again, dude, I'm a big Pat McAfee guy, have been ever since that NFL Top 100, when I realized, oh shit, this guy's going to be a megastar. Yeah. Just based off that. But it's just the rest of the show I can't stand. I don't like the interview style. Like, I don't like how he's like, oh yeah, you're doing this and you're doing that. You're doing some good stuff. Ty, what do you got? I don't like how he directs the question to his other host. Just let him ask it. I don't like that. It's weird to me. It's not natural. It just feels like people are doing Pat McAfee a favor and his friends are just there along for the ride. I don't know. That's just how I view it. But I get it, because there's clearly something that ESPN is saying that we're not.
No, definitely. I think that, honestly, I'm not a fan for when they are just bullshitting around. I do enjoy the interviews, but it's more so that they get top of the line guests and I want to hear what they have to say. I think his friends, Boston Connor and Ty Schmidt, Tone Diggs, D-Butt, Darius Butler, who played in the league. I think those guys actually ask good questions. Pat, he's just there kind of to guide the show. Regardless, he's trying to be legitimate when it comes to talking about every sport, and some people are just not going to react that way. And I guess I take exception because I saw that he tweeted out the day after. He was like, "Hey, I want to try something new, nothing I never done before." And this is how people responded to me. It was a bunch of tweets about how people hated it. And I guess I feel that way because I know that people aren't going to view Dirty Work as a legitimate professional show. It's, guys that work behind the scenes. It's me, it's Copes, especially me as a person with no experience. It's kind of going to, I'm not saying that we are in any way as popular as McAfee, but I feel like the style's the same in that, and I don't think anybody's confusing us with him. But it's just the same style, I believe, in that it's a bunch of guys. It's comical, informational sports radio. And I don't know. I just feel like, like I'm not the biggest baseball guy. I'm more of a casual fan. I think I know a lot more than Pat McAfee, and that was clear during his interviews. But I don't know, like you're trying to make it different. You're trying to make it for a different audience. But as I said, baseball is very exclusive, and you got to know ball, and fans are very demanding, and you got to know this, you got to know that. If you don't, then you're not a true baseball fan. So some people are not going to be ever accepting of McAfee, but also I totally get that ESPN and baseball are trying to go for a different audience. So why not?
Yeah. I kind of had to give a little harsh reality to my guy at KCBS named Jason, who's like a massive sports fan. He's a longtime sports fan, and he just can't stand him. No one at KCBS can stand McAfee. They just can't do it because they're of the older generation that's used to the sports reporters, and they're also professional journalists and have worked in this thing for a while. So they just can't do it. They can't, and they don't understand why. And I told Jason, I didn't mean to like blurt it out, but I was like, because younger people want to watch them. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. He's like, I don't get it. And then, I kind of remember thinking in my head, damn, did I really just say that out loud? Like, that's a little harsh, but it's true. It's true. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is true. I think that, we're in a different time in sports media, and that was apparent today. We'll get to it a little bit later.
And we're seeing, we're seeing what's happening with FS1. So I'm sure that's the thing we'll get to, but it's just I guess official journalism shows is, I don't know, kind of dead. Really?
Yeah. I mean, the sports reporters, I think, came back to ESPN Plus, and I like that show, and I still like that PTI's on. And I like, there should be true journalism, but there should be also the fun dick around stuff. The podcasts are taking over. Radio is dying. TV is kind of dying with it. People are more into streaming and YouTube, so you have to get creative. By the way, I was watching PTI today for the first time in a while. It's the first time I've watched it since they didn't have Around the Horn filling in, and now they that spot is just filled with just another sports center for 30 minutes, which I'm like, you got to get more creative than that. You got to find something else. If you're going to get rid of Around the Horn, then come up with a new show. But I love Tony Kornheiser. I love Michael Wilbon, of how real they keep it sometimes. But they were just arguing about how the Hank Aaron tribute last night was so it was compelling and, just a great tribute. And I think that the way that Michael Wilbon said it was, unless it's a clip or something on TikTok, kids won't appreciate history. So I hope that people saw that clip last night. And what he was saying was true. At the same time, I love those guys. They do sound old today. They sound like they're a little out of touch with what, kids want. And their show has never really been accommodating towards a younger audience. I enjoyed it when I was a kid because they were just talking sports. And I appreciate Michael Wilbon for being, truthful and calling out his own network a lot. But at the same time, they do sound like they're two grumpy old men arguing at the cloud.
Well, the way I'd argue about it, though, is kids are getting more historical information than they could possibly get on that ESPN platform. There's a lot of, if kids want to seek it out, there's a lot of good YouTube channels that dissect it. Just go look up Baseball is Dead. If anyone's a baseball fan out there, go watch Baseball is Dead. And they have these little bit by bit videos where they explain everything in the history. I believe it's Baseball is Dead. Could be another one. That's one of the many. But there's accounts like that for every sport. You can literally type in and see, no, Ernie too, they don't do research, but they click on headlines, they click on YouTube videos. They don't like actively seek out research, but if they see that one of their favorite YouTube channels is doing a video on something, they'll probably watch it. It's pretty amazing. Like, for example, UFC, mixed martial arts. There's a page called MMA on Point, which literally does a whole bunch of top 10 videos kind of explaining the history of the UFC and the process while also giving current takes on things. I do think younger people appreciate it more than they do. They just don't do it on the platforms that I think a lot of these older gentlemen are used to.
Yeah. No, definitely. So yeah, I think that, you know, times are changing and people just need to
check if it's Baseball is Dead. It's not Baseball is Dead, is it? What's it called? Oh God, it's not Baseball is Dead. That's Dallas Braden and what's his face? Foolish Baseball. That's the one. Foolish Baseball does great videos on the history of guys. Like, go watch their segment called Baseball Bits, and there's one he did on like Brian Wu, Alameda guy who now pitches for the Mariners, who stunk when he was at Cal Poly, but has turned into one of the premier pitchers in all of baseball, takes down the history of that, has a Barry Bonds video, puts his seasons into perspective. It's fantastic. And I think a lot of kids are watching that stuff.
No, yeah.
Did you listen to anything
it's, you know, I think it's more, you know, like a niche. I did. Sorry, my connection's a little shitty tonight. So last time it was fine, but yeah, Jared Carabas and Dallas Braden, they're doing the YouTube stuff. I heard you, kinda.
Well, yeah, it's not that. I moved on to another one. Brian who? Yeah, Ernie. Brian Wu. He went to Alameda High School, which is literally just down the street from me here, and he's from Oakland, and he's an all-star, plays for the Mariners. He's a really, really good pitcher. Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Actually, Tom's kids grew up with him. We had him on the show. Tom and Tom's children went to high school with him, so he knows him well. So yeah, bottom line is baseball. It's getting a little steam this season, but yeah, traditionalists will never be happy with the changes. I'm not happy with some of the changes they incorporated into the game with the Ghost Runner. Not a fan of that. Fine with the bigger base pads and, you know, the game being faster. That doesn't bother me. But I don't know. I think people can have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too, where, you know, you complain that not if people are watching. At the same time, they got to make changes. And also Rob Manfred, I get it. He's an annoying commissioner and doesn't really like the sport, but, you know, you have to tweak some things in order to get a bigger audience. All right, let's shift over to the NFL and talk about some contracts that have not gone down and some that have. Let's start off with Juwan Jennings wanting a contract for this upcoming season. And I guess the way that's reported is that Adam Schefter has said that he wants a new contract or he would like a trade. And he's got 1 year left on his contract, $7.5 million. This is a year after he got a contract extension when he was a restricted free agent. And I saw a lot of people yesterday be like, here we go again, the 49ers and them having contract issues. I don't see it that way. I really don't think it's that big of a deal, to be completely honest. This is not the top of the market type of deal. We're talking about Juwan Jennings, who's looking really for like a Cooper Kupp or a Jerry Jeudy contract. And both those guys, I wrote down here, basically Cooper Kupp got 3 for 45, so 15 a year, and Jerry Jeudy got 3 for 58. So you're not talking about guys that are making $30 million a year. In recent years, you had Brandon Ayuk making, you know, top 5 in the league. You had Nick Bosa becoming the highest paid defensive player in all of football. Brock Purdy, you know, when you pay the quarterback, you're going to pay him in the $50 million range annually. So those are big contracts. This, I don't think, is that big of a deal, honestly, they should pay him. It's not that astronomical of an amount. 3 for 45, I think, is appropriate for what JYOM Jennings did for you last season. You could say that right now, going into this season, he's the number one wide receiver. You don't know when Brandon Ayuk's coming back. And it seems to me like the way that John Lynch talks, I don't think they're going to have him back after this season. I think they're going to move on from him. With all of the trade talk that was out there, I think that if they can't find anybody to take on his salary, they'll probably cut him next season. I think that they were unhappy with the negotiations, and they're unhappy with the amount of money they paid for him. And his attitude after the fact, when you saw that video of him kicking his shorts off when he had the wrong shorts on during a practice. So once you get Brandon Ayuk's money off the books, this is not that big of a deal. It's 3 for 45. So I know people are just, it's a narrative of like, oh, every year, every offseason, every training camp time, the Niners have these contract disputes. I don't think it should be that big of a deal. I think they should get this done. There's no excuse to have JYOM Jennings not at training camp. He's your number one option. You don't know when Brandon Ayuk's coming back. You got Ricky Pearsall. You don't know if DeMarcus Robinson's even going to play the first 4 weeks of the season with a suspension. That's probably going to happen with him. So, yeah, get it done. It's not that big of a contract.
It's just looking for something. I do agree with you, but just the big but here, Derek. What if there's another team out there who's willing to give him a fairly lofty one that the Niners aren't willing to pay him? Like he'd be okay with making the $7.5 million this year, but it's like, all right, well, I got this other team who's willing to take me. I'm going to ball out, and I'm just going to go to them if they're willing to give me another contract. Like, I don't know. He could bet on himself, but I wonder if last season was the peak JYOM Jennings that we'll get, because he truly was the number one guy. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk getting hurt, as you mentioned, and him returning this season. Ricky Pearsall starting off on the PUP list last year. I personally think that Ricky Pearsall is the number one receiver going into this year, and I think that's what the 49ers are planning on doing. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they just kind of said, look, man, we can't pay you right now. We will. I mean, we can only give you a certain amount, but give us one more year, give us a time for the salary cap to go up, and then we can give you a deal in the offseason. I think they'll work it out. I just don't. JYOM Jennings doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to hold in and just mope the entire time he's at training camp. Like when Adam Schefter reported this, he cited sources saying that, he'd be there, but he'd be unhappy with his contract. I'm like, okay, but Jennings is still going to be a team guy. That's who he's always been. He's just asking for a little extra quiche. I think he is more valuable than $7.5 million. They're getting an absolute steal with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that I'm with you. I don't think that JYOM Jennings is the type of guy to not show up to training camp. He might hold in, and that's just the price of doing business. But also, for a guy that did the post-game interviews and his attitude was, if he had a big game, like the game against the Rams at week 3, where he had 3 touchdowns, but they lost the game. And the post-game, he was being asked, like, what'd you think about having your career-defining game? And he was like, we still lost the game. Like, I'm not going to comment on, my performance when we lost the game. I'm a team first guy. So, I think that he has a team first mentality, but also he realizes I need to cash in. I got 1 year left. If I hurt myself, I'm only, on the books for $7.5 million. I need to get paid. So this is the price of, doing good business.
Yeah. But it is surprising that it's happening now. It's weird timing to have it a week before training camp.
That's the right time to do it, though. That's the right time to do it, though. That's when you know that you're not being, you're basically being neglected. Where I'm sure John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were like, let's just see if we can get by this offseason without paying him. And he's like, no, you're not. You're going to pay me now. And they should. They should pay him now. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially when you see these other contracts that were handed out this last couple days. What he's asking for, not that big. Not huge. So if I was John Lynch, I would think big picture down the line, we're probably getting rid of Brandon Ayuk. So if my number one receiver is on the books for $15 million a year, I'm saving money. And then, you have to see with Ricky Pearsall. They may have to add a wide receiver down the line or see what they have in Jacob Cowing. But, yeah, I don't put this contract dispute in the same category as everyone else these past few seasons. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
No, because he's also not like a top star.
Exactly.
This isn't Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. Like, he's great, but he also had 975 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns, and he was the number 1 receiver. Those are solid, high-end number 2 receiver stats. Those aren't 1 receiver stats. Just because he was first on the team. So I don't think he has, he has leverage, but I don't think he has so much where he could demand just this $20 to $25 million Jonathan Kuminga contract.
Yeah. By the way, breaking news, Von Miller has signed with the team. He's going to the Washington Commanders.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all. I think that if I had to guess, I thought he would go back to the Rams or team up with Lord Fangio with the Eagles, since he coached him with the Denver Broncos back in the day. But they need pass rush, and the Eagles have so much pass rush. So, yeah, that's a solid move by the Commanders. So as far as everything else, we're talking about Juwan Jennings asking for, Cooper Kupp money. When you see Garrett Wilson signed for 4 years, $130 million, 90 guaranteed, making 32.5 annually. So he's one of the top paid wide receivers in football now. And that's funny that, a dude that didn't know if he wanted to be there a year ago. And you were right on this, Steven. I was kind of thinking it wasn't that big of a deal with them having mini camp and training camp arguments, him and Aaron Rodgers. And there was a question if Garrett Wilson wanted to even be there anymore, because he felt like the acquisition of Devontae Adams was overshadowing him. But now that they got his college quarterback in Justin Fields, now, he's happy to be there. So he cashes in, and they could have let him play out on the 5th-year option, but they wanted to pay him now, and he's put up solid numbers. So I have no issue with that one. Just a quick thought on Garrett Wilson getting paid, if you have one.
I think I'm not so much. It's nothing on Garrett Wilson. I think he deserves it, but I'm seeing a little bit now, Derek, heading into training camp. Some are bullish on Justin Fields and his future with the Jets here, saying they got a pretty decent offensive line. The Steelers is kind of where quarterbacks, don't mean to get all gruesome with it, or what's the word that I'm looking for? Don't mean to get all dark, but the Steelers is kind of where quarterbacks go to die. Where you're just kind of stalling there. You're not really going to develop. They don't develop.
Stalling!
Exactly. Shout out to Dante Stallworth. They literally stall probably not a shout out. They literally stall quarterbacks in Pittsburgh. And so Fields kind of just had a gap year. And before in Chicago, I remember that one year where it's like, damn, Justin Fields might be damn good. I don't know. I just wonder, with all the talent that he has around him, along with the offensive line and a pretty solid running back in Breece Hall and a solid head coach too, he's going to be more of a runner than a passer probably, but people are bullish on him going into the year, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll say that for another time when we go in depth on all the teams and training camp stuff. I don't know what I expect from Justin Fields at this point. And I think that it's going to be a weird connection with him and Tanner Engstrand, the offensive coordinator of the Jets, who was basically the pass game coordinator for the Lions, who knows Harbaugh and I guess was used to running quarterbacks. But I'm not ready to make any, prognostications on Justin Fields for this season. I think he's got a long way to go. As far as the other contract, Sauce Gardner got paid 4 years, $120 million, 60 guaranteed. So he's making the top cornerback money now, just gets 0.1 million more than Derek Stingley. So that's a guy they wanted to lock up too. That makes sense. He's arguably the best quarterback of football. You can say Patrick Surtain or Derek Stingley Jr. But yeah, I think it's smart of the Jets to do this stuff when their quarterback, Justin Fields, is not making a shit ton of money. He's only making 15 a year, something like a 2-year contract. So when you're not paying top dollar to your quarterback, or you have a quarterback on a rookie salary, then yeah, lock up Garrett Wilson, lock up Sauce Gardner, lock up the guys that you draft in the first round just 3 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm. Good on their part. Poor Jets. They're never going to win anything. They're cursed anyway.
You say that you're bullish on Justin Fields, and then right away say Jets.
I said people are bullish on Justin Fields. I didn't say I was.
Okay, I'll remember that. And then the last one, just the only guy that got franchise tag, Trey Smith, makes the top guard money. Gets 4 years, $94 million, $70 guaranteed, which is more than what Sauce Gardner got guaranteed wise. So yeah, the Chiefs are locking up their guys. The biggest issue was the offensive line. Well, the biggest issues, of course, were the offensive line and the fact that Patrick Mahomes is fat. But yeah, you saw that in the Super Bowl that Mahomes got knocked on his ass. So they want to make sure that they get younger at those positions, and that's what they drafted the last 2 years, I believe, in the first round, left tackles. As far as rookies reporting to training camp, I think the Chargers are the only team that are at camp right now because they play in the Hall of Fame game. Did you see what happened to Najee Harris? Went to a fireworks show and got hit in the eye, and now he's on I guess the NFI list. I'm not familiar with what that is, not the PUP list, but he's probably gonna miss a couple practice. Okay, there you go. Yeah, you're right. And yeah, that sucks. And a lot of people, he went to a show, I guess in the Bay Area.
It wasn't a show.
What was it? What was it?
It was just in his complex. It was with a few people. He was one of 6 to get injured or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big show. It was just at some apartment complex in Antioch. Sounded like he was just with some friends and had some really terrible luck involving a firework.
Yeah, that sucks. And a lot of people were critically injured and had to go to the hospital. And, it sounds like he'll be okay, but to not start training camp on time because of a firework incident, it's not like Jason Pierre-Paul, 10 years ago, but still pretty bad. Regardless, Trey Harris, their second-round pick, wide receiver, holding out of training camp because he wants a fully guaranteed deal. And that's what we're seeing right now with second-round picks in the NFL. Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver for the Texans, was the first second-round draft pick to get a fully guaranteed deal. Now, most first-round draft picks get fully guaranteed deals, which makes sense. It's not that big amount of money. And, yeah, it's only 4 years. Or 3 years sometimes, but the second-round picks getting these deals is very interesting to me. You also had UCLA linebacker for the Browns, Carson Swelsinger, I believe is his name. He got a fully guaranteed deal. So now you're seeing more and more second-round picks not sign their contracts because they're looking for what these guys got. And I just saw breaking news about 10 minutes ago. Alfred Collins, the 49ers second-round draft pick, my dude, big boy from Texas, he is going to sign. He already signed, and it's not a fully guaranteed deal, but he gets $9 million guaranteed, so close enough, $10.3 million for the next 4 years. And now, as Adam Schefter reports here, it's supposed to trigger multiple second-round pick signings. So 30 of 32 second-round picks remain without a deal. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's Trey Harris and that's Jack Besh of the Raiders. So, as we said a couple weeks ago, or I brought up, that Jack Besh, well, you got Jacoby Myers, you got Jack Besh, you got Trey Tucker. If he's not starting training camp on time, you may need to look to get a veteran wide receiver in Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, because that guy can't be missing time. And it's just a weird situation now where you're giving second-round picks fully guaranteed contracts. So I'm sure, I don't know what's going to happen with Jack Besh. He'll probably sign, hopefully. But, yeah, very interesting situation right now. Me personally, you know how I feel about fully guaranteed deals in the first place. And I think that it's appropriate for rookies. But when you start giving to second-round picks, then it becomes dicey, where then why shouldn't all draft picks get fully guaranteed deals? That's where it becomes a slippery slope. I don't know. And I don't like the idea of some guys get it and some don't. I don't like the idea. Every rookie contract for first-round draft picks should be the same. Every second-round rookie contract should be the same for all of them. I don't like that Shamar Stewart has to have a clause in his contract where he loses out on money. And some guys have that, some guys don't. The Bengals in previous seasons, didn't do that. Now they're doing it now. It should be just a strict deal for every NFL team. This is what it is for first-round draft picks. This is what it is for second-round draft picks. It's the same amount of money. There's exceptions like Travis Hunter if you're playing two positions, but for the most part, depending on the round you're drafted in, all contracts should be the same.
I don't know if I agree with that. Look, I really don't have a big opinion on that. All I know is they better get Jack Besh into training camp. It's bizarre that they've done all this pomp and circumstance with him, especially because of his story, his incredibly sad story after what happened in New Orleans with his brother. But they better get it done because he's been working out with the team. You see him in photos and stuff. I'm really not too worried about it. And I do think this Alfred Collins thing will kind of trigger the remaining of these guys to actually sign their deals. I don't know. I'm not really too passionate about whether second round picks should all get the same contracts or not. Cool concept, I guess.
Yeah, it's just my opinion, man, because it becomes a thing now where you're having holdouts when it comes to second round draft picks, and that's never been a thing. And the Shamar Stewart thing, that's just the Bengals being cheap, in my opinion. Or not really being cheap. They're being cheap with Trey Hendrickson, but maybe they are being cheap by saying if anything happens with him, I don't know what his history is, if he's got a rap sheet when it comes to off the field stuff. So they want to cover their ass in case something happens, and then they don't have to guarantee money with him. But I don't know. It just seems kind of shady when you've never done that in the past, like Amarius Mims, their first-round draft pick from a season ago. They didn't ask him to do this, and now they're asking it of him. At the same time, as you and I said a couple weeks ago, he's not going about this the right way. What he's saying to the media, and now he's working out with Texas A&M reportedly, where he may try to go back into the draft and play college football this season. That's insane. I don't even know if he could do that, but I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on it. It's just a take because it's something I've never seen before. So yeah.
It is causing headaches, that's for sure.
Yep. And training camp is a week away for all 32 teams. So I'm sure there'll be contract holdouts for the big names. I think that TJ Watt and Trey Hendrickson will probably not show up. Terry McLaurin spoke yesterday saying that he feels disrespected by the Commanders, and there has been a lot of communication with him. I would say if you pay Garrett Wilson $32.5 million a year, then Terry McLaurin, for what he was for Jaden Daniels this season, and Jaden Daniels is on a rookie contract, you need to pay Terry McLaurin $33 million a year probably.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. You need it.
Definitely deserves it. All right, let's move on to the NBA and talk about the latest with the Warriors, which a lot hasn't changed, but we get more reports. Mark Spears was on the NBA Today yesterday and said that Al Horford was supposed to sign with the Warriors last week. Didn't happen, obviously. And now there's other teams that are in the mix. The Lakers, the Bucks, and the Hawks are still interested in the services of 39-year-old Al Horford. And Mark Stein actually went on with 95.7 The Game and reported that basically Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton will eventually sign with the Warriors. He also said that he expects, or he didn't expect, he said that maybe Bradley Beal will be in the mix, but we saw today that Bradley Beal agreed to a buyout with the Phoenix Suns finally, and he signed a 2-year deal with the LA Clippers. So your reaction, Steven, to basically the Warriors still waiting on Al Horford, maybe still being in the mix for DeAnthony Melton. I mean, all this really hinges on Jonathan Kuminga, as Shams Charania has said. Like that's the part that sucks, is we're waiting on him, and the fact that Bradley Beal ended up with the Clippers instead of the Warriors, which I don't think is that big of a deal.
I'm indifferent to it as far as the moves, but I just want Kuminga to make a decision already and kind of realize that you're leading a wild goose chase trying to get whatever contract you feel you deserve from another team, because it's going to take a lot for the Warriors to trade you. I wonder if they've had those conversations yet. The Al Horford thing, it's still the same. I'd like to have him on the team. He's a veteran. He's a pro. Does it catapult them into the top of the Western Conference? No. But actually, Ernie, too, I almost agree. There's so much smoke around it that like it feels like this is going to end where Horford's eventually going to go somewhere else, and then the Warriors Reddit is going to be going crazy, posting that meme of Mike Dunleavy getting kicked in the face when he was a player. So like it feels like that's where this is headed. The DeAnthony Melton thing, they were playing really well with him in the lineup. When he tore his ACL, that did feel like a tough blow. I know he's not a big name, but he seemed to fit with them in the first half of the season. I'm still wondering, man, this team was so damn good, like towards the end of the year. And I'm not trying to use this as an excuse, but because the Warriors haven't, but as I'm like reflecting, ever since they traded for Jimmy Butler, they were number one in defensive and offensive rating. And you just learned that Moses Moody was playing with essentially 4 fingers in his right hand because his thumb was hurt and he had to have surgery on it. And you kind of realize, oh, that's why there's the decline. Or Brandon Pajemski, he had to have surgery too. Both Jimmy Butler and Steph got hurt in the playoffs. Like I look at the season last year and I'm not like totally down on the Warriors with the roster is constructed. I'm just not. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's just me thinking just your positive opinions, man. But like they were one of the best teams in basketball, and it was a pretty big sample size until, they just kind of lost the war of attrition. And maybe that's an issue. What if this team does play a full season? What are they going to look like at the end? I get that. And when Steve Kerr mentions, when Steve Kerr says, in the playoffs, you need 3-point shooting and you also need injury luck. And it doesn't feel like this team is going to have that injury luck going into a postseason. Not when I see Draymond after every game wrapping himself in what looks like airplane pillows and ice on his knees, or, Steph Curry having to wear a butt pad for 2 weeks at every season, or, Jimmy Butler struggling with the tailbone and grimacing while he has a coffee shop opening in San Francisco. I don't know why I added that in there. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I just saw a team like Brandon Pajemski and Moses Moody declined. Yeah. There's no doubt, but I think injuries played a part in that.
100% they did. 100% they did.
I don't know. And so like, that's where I go back to the Kuminga thing where I didn't really care like when he returned, because it was if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of deal. Like I didn't think there was any urgency to just thrust him into the starting lineup.
No, of course not. But if fans want him there because they think that he's better than he is.
Sure.
As far as what you were saying, I agree with you that the Warriors were a totally different team. But yeah, it was a small sample size. I would like to see a full 82 games with how this older roster is going to be. And Brandon Pajemski, Moses Moody, they definitely struggled during the postseason, but injuries played a factor into that. I don't think those guys should be starters, though. I think that they are better off the bench to help that second unit. And I think the ideal starting lineup at this point, with all the rumors out there, should be Steph Curry, DeAnthony Melton, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Al Horford as your starting 5. And then you could bring Trayce Jackson-Davis and Moses Moody and Brandon Pajemski and Jonathan Kuminga off the bench. We still don't know what's going on with GP2, by the way. He hasn't been signed back, and he hasn't been linked to any team right now. And what pisses me off is that all of this stuff, the Al Horford stuff, shouldn't be contingent on Kuminga, but the way that Shams Charania spoke about it today on Sirius XM Radio, it sounds like it is. So they're still waiting on Kuminga to make his decision, and it sounds like he doesn't have a lot of options. So I'm okay with Jonathan Kuminga taking his time when it comes to a decision, but at the same time, if that decision is holding up the Warriors on everything else they can do, then he needs to make a decision already. Like that's where Mike Dunleavy needs to be like, Jonathan, this is what's on the table right now. We value you more than most teams out there right now, and we're not getting good compensation for you. And I guess that's where the report comes out, where he's willing to come back, but also with the intention of maybe going someplace else. And maybe he hasn't gotten assurances from Steve Kerr on what his role is going to be for this upcoming season. And maybe it's still very awkward right now. And that's why nothing's changed. But in order for the Warriors to do their business, they need to do something on Jonathan Kuminga already. So if they can get a deal done with Anthony Melton, I'm all for that. The Al Horford thing, at this point, beggars can't be choosers. So he's the best big man out there. Go get him. At the end of the day, I still don't think that changes much for you in the West. I think they could be a very competitive team. I don't think they're going to be at the cream of the crop when it comes to the West. I think the Clippers are a better team. And honestly, I don't blame Bradley Beal for going with the Clippers as opposed to the Warriors. They're a much younger team. Now, are there a lot of question marks with health with those guys too, because those guys are older and injury prone, and James Harden and Kawhi Leonard? Absolutely. But I think overall right now, the Clippers on paper are a better team than the Warriors. But I still think the Warriors could be a very competitive team. But and also I'm sure that he got paid more money with the Clippers because they can't offer him what he's looking for when they still don't know what the hell's going on with Jonathan Kuminga. So I say all this to say right now it's a total clusterfuck with the Warriors when it comes to their offseason because it's all contingent on one man.
Yeah. Yep. You know, my one of my big takeaways from the offseason too is not so much with the Warriors. This is, I know you're probably not going to like this. I don't know if the listeners are going to like this, but one thing that I've kind of changed my tune on, because I've kind of felt the same about the Warriors this entire summer. Not much has really changed on that front. I just think it was already too late that you traded Kuminga. They're probably going to deal him at the deadline while he gets a new deal, and they might sign Horford and they might sign Melton. And I feel okay going into next year. A new thing that I've changed though, Derek, done a 180.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of rooting for Bronny James.
Why is that?
It's just, I've seen like a few clips that he talks about post game with Summer League. And it seems like he really, for a guy who's the son of one of the most globally famous, one of the best to ever do it in their respective sport in LeBron, like he seems to have a pretty good head on his shoulders as far as the expectations he set for himself. And even though LeBron seems to lie a lot, I do believe him when he
gotta love LeBron. He loves to lie.
I do believe him when he says that Bronny kind of just focuses on himself. And it doesn't seem like he feels like anything is going to be given to him. It seems like he wants to earn it. And just hearing him talk when he says like, I want to just be, he's like, I know the way I got to make it in this league. I got to be a defensive pest. It's not about scoring. Like he's averaging more points per game, higher percentages. I think he's got shooting like 45% from the field and 30% from three, which isn't great, but it's a lot better than he looked offensively in Summer League. And that's been a big thing. But then when he was asked about it, he was responding with, look, it doesn't matter what my offense does. Like, I just got to be a pest out there on defense. That's my best chance to make in this team and make it in the NBA. I'm not going to be a premier scorer. Like, I can if need be, but I think where my real value lies is on the defensive end. I don't know. I just really respect that. I'm kind of rooting for the kid.
Well, Steven, you realize that not all Nepo babies are arrogant pricks. Some of us can be really grounded and realize that, yeah, I guess I have to put myself in that category. No, I mean, initially when he was drafted a year ago, I was like, what are we doing? But he does all the right things, and it's not his fault.
Aren't we all Nepo babies, Derek, from the Heavenly Father?
If you want to get religious about it, sure. But
really
what's that?
If you put it into perspective, we're all Nepo babies.
I mean,
every single one of us.
That's the best thought process of Nepo babies I ever heard, Stephen. Thank you. Because at the end of the day, we're all children of God. We'll get to LeBron a little bit here. Like, I'm not really rooting for Bronny. At the same time, I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism that doesn't need to be brought up because he's put on a big stage because he plays for the Lakers, but he's basically a G League player, and it's just easy. It's an easy target for Stephen A. Smith. One positive thing about this Warriors offseason is just the comedic gold we get from Buddy Hield. Did you see this quote of him during Summer League about his trip to Rome?
Yes.
It's fantastic. Can you do the voice?
What voice?
You know the voice.
I'm not doing Buddy Hield's voice.
He's got a heavy lisp.
He does have a heavy lisp. I'm not doing it.
Okay, fine. I won't do it either then. Quinn Post also has a heavy. Oh no, not
I was at the
Post.
Coliseum and I just watched Maximus and I said, "Where's Maximus?"
He said you weren't going to do it. It's hard not to. I mean,
then the tour guide said it wasn't there. No Maximus.
That might be my new favorite impression you do now. I was gonna say Pat. No, what's his name? Who's the white guy on the team? Pat Connor
Quentin
Spencer.
Post?
No, the other guy.
Pat Spencer.
Pat Spencer. He's got a heavy lisp too.
Does he?
Yeah, I've never really heard him in interviews, but Pat Spencer in a post game interview after a playoff loss, he was very nice of him to do an interview with NBC Bay Area, and it sounded like he had a heavy lisp. Buddy Hield definitely has a heavy lisp. Yeah, he says, I watched Gladiator and thought Maximus was a real warrior. I'm going into the Coliseum yelling Maximus, and then my tour guide said he's not real.
Can we just play it? Can we play it?
Yeah. I didn't even know there were audio. I didn't even know there was audio of this. Yes, absolutely.
I was a little disappointed when I'm in the Coliseum.
Why?
Because Gladiator, I watched Gladiator, and I thought Maximus was a real warrior. So I'm going to the Coliseum streaming Maximus, and my tour guy said he's not real.
Did you see Gladiator 2?
I did.
Not as good.
Not as good.
We'll leave the movie reviews.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I wish this were during the regular season so Jimmy Butler could, give it to him at the after a game. Good pause. So Jimmy Butler could, I'm gonna step away. You go.
No. I got you, Steven, even though it sounded sexual. I love Buddy Hield. He's a goofy bastard. He's different he's a better player, obviously, than Swaggy P, but you just need kind of like that goofball that's part of the bunch. So, yeah, I love that he's on the team. Do I want him to be the starting two guard? There was moments during the playoffs where he was awesome. He had the Buddy Hield game in Game 7 against the Rockets, but not a great defender. So if we could get to Anthony Melton, I think that's an upgrade, and I think that Buddy Hield coming off the bench too with Brandon Pajemski, not bad. Not bad 3-point shooting in your second unit. Okay, going back to LeBron. He showed up during Summer League too, but God forbid he wanted to talk about what's going on with the Lakers. So David Miniman of ESPN that covers the Lakers always gets an exclusive with LeBron James. And didn't happen this time. He asked LeBron James what he thought about everything going on with the Lakers, and LeBron James' quote is, I ain't got nothing to talk about. Do we have audio?
LeBron just before tip-off if he'd like to join the broadcast to discuss everything, and he told me, quote, I ain't got nothing to talk about. Guys.
Okay. You know what? And since that came out, there's been reports that there's 4 teams that have inquired about LeBron James. The Warriors, and that goes back to a couple seasons ago where Joe Lacob may have inquired about him at the trade deadline. The Cavaliers, who I think at the end of the day LeBron wants to end his career with. The Clippers, and the Mavericks. And I think probably the Mavericks makes a lot of sense with, Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving being there. But since that time, there's been reports that have come out saying that LeBron James most likely is going to stay with the Lakers this season. And my thing is, you cannot sound like a baby. I'm sorry, but you sound like a petulant child right now where you say, I ain't got nothing to talk about. And this moping because it's not your team anymore is ridiculous. Like, because you're not the face of the team anymore, because Luka came in and now you're not the star. They gave you so much. Everything that LeBron James wanted, he got. He got Anthony Davis. He got his son drafted. You think they wanted J.J. Redick to be the head coach? I don't think so. So now this is the first time where the Lakers tell him no, and he gets all butthurt about it. The Lakers are bigger than LeBron. They've been a franchise for a long-ass time, and they've been the premier franchise in sports for about 40 years now. So, or longer than that, maybe 50 years. So I think it's lame of LeBron James to act now like, I'm going to opt in where I could just be a free agent, and in my career, wherever the hell I want to go, I could sign for lesser money with the Cleveland Cavaliers and have a nice fairy tale ending. But no, I'm going to bitch and complain and I'm going to take my $50 million and I'm going to end my career with the Lakers, even though I'm not happy about it. I think that's lame.
I agree to an extent, but I don't think he's obligated to answer anything about that. I don't think he has to answer any questions. I think he's absolutely in the right to say, I ain't got nothing to say right now.
Yeah, but then when it comes, I hear you, Steven. Yes, I'm not in favor of athletes feeling obligated to do interviews just because they have to. But at the same time, when Rich Paul, when you opt back in with the Lakers and has a statement basically saying, you better start making some moves, otherwise I don't know if I want to be here. It comes across like, oh, they don't care about me anymore. Like the way this has all been reported about, and I don't know if it's factual. I don't know if LeBron James actually feels this way. He can debunk all of this stuff. Like at the same time, do you think it's weird that LeBron James has not called DeAndre Ayton since he's been an LA Laker? Do you think it's weird that he tweets out right when the Cleveland Cavaliers give a contract extension to their new general manager and he says, I love this guy? Don't you think it's kind of weird where he's like all these reports are out that he's basically moping that the team cares more about Luka than him right now? I know he doesn't have to say anything to Dave McMenamin, but at the same time, don't you think this is kind of lame of him to do this shit?
I guess. I think it's more lame to just focus on LeBron and what he's doing, to be honest.
I'm not focusing on it. It's just a fucking story. I don't know.
This is all the first I'm hearing of it because I don't pay attention to LeBron. I've realized, Derek, and this kind of goes back to the Pat McAfee conversation. If you're not interested in hearing about it, or you don't want to hear from that person, you don't have to look up anything about that individual. Honestly, I'm kind of over it. Like, I don't really care how LeBron's acting. I don't think he owes the Lakers anything. I don't think the Lakers really owe him anything. If he wants to act that way, then fine. He's the greatest player that we've ever seen in this generation. Like it's fine. I think you're also letting your LeBron bias get into it because you don't really like him.
I don't. But you know, I also have Laker bias. But this is, I guess I'm on the Laker side of this situation. But I don't know. Am I wrong here? Like I don't care that much, but it is being talked about in sports where I'm like, LeBron, this is what happens when you get older, man. You're not top of the priority list when it comes to, the face of the franchise. And yes, you were an important player for a long time, and they really did accommodate you for most of what you were asking. But now this is the first time where, they're not really going to bend over backwards for you. And now he's all upset about that. That's why I think that's just lame. Bottom line.
Yeah. No, I hear you. To be honest, like the LeBron stuff, whatever. He's probably going to play for the Lakers. He's probably going to announce his retirement. He's probably going to be done playing this season. I don't know. I'm not worried about LeBron in July. I'm just not. And I think I've been, to be honest, I've been off social media for a little bit. I'm not really doing like a total detox, but I'm really not searching up stuff. Like I'm not constantly, doom scrolling. However, I'm not trying to like change the topic, but I kind of am because I got nothing else on this. Sure, it's LeBron. He's always been this way. Like,
by all means,
this is LeBron. This is the same guy that, wore a wristband even though he wasn't hurt. This is the same LeBron who reads the back flap of a book and acts like he read it. Like I'm, the same LeBron who calls out Brian Windhorst and does all these things. Like, yeah, it's how he acts. I'm kind of done paying attention to it. And he seems like an overall good dude. So I don't really want to stray my, my perspective on him. No, the thing that struck me from the best player in their respective sport, and I'm not saying LeBron is, but he has been for the last 25 years. But the best golfer of the last 15 years, Scottie Scheffler. Did you happen to see his answer on what it was like being at the top?
No, I saw that it was a long answer, so I didn't listen to the whole thing. But
of course not.
I did see that you tweeted about this. Yes.
Well, I'll play just a snippet of it because he kind of repeats himself. But I thought it was just fascinating because it's a little different with team sports. When we talk about killers who want to do nothing but win, It's, Kobe, it's Tom Brady, it's not really LeBron, but who else is in that category of player? Like kind of psychos who just want to win championships and will do whatever it takes.
The guys you mentioned. I mean, basically that's who I think of: Michael Jordan, Kobe, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
just guys that basically made sacrifices in order to be the best.
Right, and they do have something to play for in that they have their teammates and their franchise. Derek Jeter's another one, but they all play team sports. Scotty Scheffler has been by far the best golfer in the world for a long time. I think he's going on like 128 or 148 weeks of being number one in the world. So it's been a while. He gave a fascinating answer on what it's like just playing with this golf schedule where it's just nonstop for months on end. It's just tournaments weekly.
I think it's kind of funny. I think, I think I said something after the Byron this year about like, it feels like you work your whole life to celebrate winning a tournament for like a few minutes. It only lasts a few minutes, that kind of euphoric feeling. And I like to win the Byron Nelson Championship at home. I literally worked my entire life to become good at golf, to have an opportunity to win that tournament. And you win it, you celebrate, get to hug my family, my sister's there. It's such an amazing moment. And then it's like, okay, now what are we going to eat for dinner? Life goes on. Is it great to be able to win tournaments and to accomplish the things I have in the game of golf? Yeah. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes just to think about, because it's literally worked my entire life to become good at the sport, and to have that kind of sense of accomplishment, I think is a pretty cool feeling. To get to live out your dreams is very special. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not out here to inspire the next generation of golfers. I'm not here to inspire somebody else to be the best player in the world, because what's the point? This is not a fulfilling life. It's fulfilling from the sense of accomplishment, but it's not fulfilling from a sense of like the deepest, places of your heart. There's a lot of people that make it to what they thought was going to fulfill them in life, and then you get there and all of a sudden you get to number one in the world, and then they're like, what's the point? And
wow, that is great perspective on how sports are not the end-all be-all. That's his job, but that doesn't define him. Basically, that is the epitome of the movie Soul.
Right. Yes. I don't know. I mean, I start like thinking almost about myself, and I'm very grateful to be in the position that I'm in, to be, doing a job that revolves around watching and kind of covering sports for a living. But it definitely brought as my fandom has kind of started to fade a little bit, or I guess where my focus on certain things has kind of started to fade, and maybe just watching that quarterback show and just hearing how all these things that are talked about are just media driven narratives that are there to drive the sport. It could be good, it could be bad. I don't know. I just started thinking like, what's the point? Like what's the point of all this? What's the point of making, sports like the focal thing in life? But I guess because I enjoy it, and I think that's why he keeps playing golf, is because he loves it.
Yeah.
But I think it is great to keep things into perspective like that. And I thought it was just really refreshing to hear an athlete talk like that, especially one from in his profession, where it's an individual thing, where it's like, you're not really playing for anyone but yourself.
I think we're going to have more athletes speak like that, because I know it's a kind of a thing that people complain about these days from the older audience, where these great quarterbacks, maybe they're not as driven as hard, or maybe just athletes in general aren't driven as hard, because we think about mental health, we think about what's more important in life, and, got to get away from it sometimes, where I feel like you may not have a Kobe Bryant or a Derek Jeter or a Tom Brady anymore. You still got Patrick Mahomes, who's dedicated as hell. It's different for everybody. But I think if you ask most athletes today, they're going to say that this doesn't define who I am. I got a wife, I got kids, I got a family, I got other things in life.
I got Meg the Stallion.
Exactly. And, that's good for Clay. He'll be a very, very, very happy man. But, yeah, it's not going to define who I am.
Those legs spry.
That'll be the next thing. That'll be like some Dallas radio host being like, I think Klay Thompson's having too much sex with Megan Thee Stallion.
He has like a lower leg injury that's non-contact. Oh,
exactly.
Man.
Like who was my guy that was on the broadcast a couple years ago? The Dallas analyst that was calling out James Harden. Remember that epic rant he had?
Yes.
That guy. Watch that guy be like, you think that Klay Thompson's having too much sex with Megan?
Yeah.
And Klay gets asked about it like a post-game presser, and he's like, damn right I am.
Yeah.
He just owns it. So yeah, like, that's very good perspective from Scotty Scheffler. At the same time, I think you would also say I'm very dedicated to the sport. But when the sport's over, real life kicks in.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting thing to wrestle with because that's why I do kind of call a lot of those guys kind of crazy in that all they focus on is winning championships and will do whatever it takes. And it seemed Kobe was in that mode until he was, done playing. And then he entered that mode where family, his kids were more important. And that's like kind of why his death was also just such a heartbreaker, because you felt like he was entering that next phase of his life where, during his playing days, not a lot of people liked him, Yeah. If he didn't think you could contribute to the cause, then you were just kind of a non-starter. You were nothing to him if you weren't going to help him win a championship, really. At least that's how it's come across it for people who played with the Lakers. And it didn't really matter who you were, but then he was kind of entering that next phase. And it seems like Scotty Scheffler's kind of already in that phase of his life where he's realizing this isn't everything.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. It's fascinating to hear a guy who's I could argue, dude, that Scotty Scheffler is better than the rest as far as the best among their sport, as dominant. I think compared to the rest of his play, compared to the rest of the golfers, I think he's just as dominant in his respective sport than the best player is in any other sport, if you know what I mean. With every Shohei Ohtani, there's an Aaron Judge. With every Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, there's a Nikola Jokic. With Patrick Mahomes, right there is Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson. There's a talent gap, sure, but it's not that wide. It feels like Scheffler is by a wide margin the best in his sport, even in tennis too. You're kind of seeing it right now with both Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner. They've overtaken Novak Djokovic, and it's kind of those two guys. But Scotty Scheffler just standing alone at the peak, at the mountaintop. He's at the top of Everest, and everyone else is at base camp. It's wild.
It's a good analogy. I thought you were going to say everybody else is at the top of the chairlift, and he's or he's at the top of the chairlift, everybody else at the bottom of the chairlift.
He is. Everyone's still waiting in line. Everyone's still waiting in line. He's already got off. He's just sitting there at the top of the mountain waiting to go down if anyone can chase him.
Yeah. I was really hoping that he ended that answer with some humor, just being like, hey, man, I could say, golf is my priority, but when you're staring at a jail cell like I was a year ago, things change you.
Amazing.
He was there for what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
Yeah. Jail changed me. American History X.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick, you wanted to bring this up. You want to talk about Chelsea winning the FIFA World Cup championship?
Well, listen, dude, I'm kind of over it now. I'm the sting has passed, but it's been 3 years since I've seen Chelsea hoist any sort of trophy. And to be honest, going into this year, it's called the Club World Cup, which hasn't happened since 2023. And with an already packed soccer schedule, I just thought it was kind of a sham, just a way for soccer to make more money and to potentially put more eyeballs on it in the United States. But it was a pretty solid tournament overall. You saw guys competing. And this is the first time since 2021 or maybe even 2022, after Chelsea won the Champions League, it's the first time I've seen them get to the stage, get to the final. They crushed PSG 3-0. I didn't even watch it because I was at Giants Dodgers getting the watch tan. But come to find that my favorite team lifting the trophy right in the middle of it. It's the goddamn president of the United States. A guy who doesn't even know what's happening, who has no clue that Chelsea's even a thing. He doesn't know the history. He doesn't know anything about soccer, but he is best friends with FIFA president Gianni Infantino. And there's 3 separate times where Infantino is doing the thing that you do when the host country, it's not unusual to have the host country's president or prime minister or whatever standing up there on the stage. That's not unusual. What is unusual is that person putting themselves at the center of the celebration. Normally it's just the team. And now when I go back and look at this Club World Cup thing, I think about posters that kids could get and putting it on the wall of their favorite team winning the championship, calendars, and you are going to see a guy with a blue suit and a red tie and an orange face standing in the middle of it. And I'm just like, you do the whole keep politics out of sports thing. Well, you can't help it because politics is right there at the center of it. 3 separate times, Infantino tried leading him off the stage, and he just wandered back like a little brother who has to be a part of his older brother's team just because he's not following any rules. Hopefully some agents don't come knocking through this door right now and, just arresting me for whatever, because I'm speaking out against this, but I just couldn't do it, man.
No, Steven, come on. That's not reserved for white people or, Rosie O'Donnell. Well, actually, he hates Rosie O'Donnell.
No.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
My favorite team winning a championship, and he's right there.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, why does this have to happen?
He's basically on the level of like Kevin Hart or Drake when someone wins a championship and they think it's about them.
Right. It's crazy, dude. And it has me worried that we're going to see the same thing with the World Cup next year. We are going to see him right at the center of it, whoever wins it. And I swear to, oh my gosh, if England, even more than the Raiders, I want to see England win the World Cup. Like, as far as my favorite teams winning the championship, I want to see England win it more than any other club, any other franchise, any other organization. And if he's at the center of it, I'm going to lose my mind.
Would that ruin the moment for you?
Yeah. Yes, it would. But
is it more awkward than I'm not remembering this fully. What was the incident? I want to say a year ago in soccer where somebody won. It was like maybe the Women's World Cup, and somebody was on the stage and being weird with somebody.
Yeah, the Spanish Federation president.
Yes,
kissed a Spanish soccer legend, Jenny Hermoso, on the lips, and that led to a whole fiasco following that, and it really overshadowed Spain's Women's World Cup victory.
So is this as awkward as that with Trump on the stage?
Well, no.
He didn't kiss anybody, but
no, because he didn't make an unwanted kind of sexual advance at one of the players. He was just standing there.
Yeah, fair enough.
My favorite part, though, like I got that out of my system. There is one part to laugh at, and that's Cole Palmer, who is the star of Chelsea, one of the bright young stars of soccer right now, who's, got to be honest, he's kind of an egghead. He's kind of known for being like the total, it's soccer and that's it. Not much else matters in life. He's kind of one of those guys. There's quite a few of them. Like Jack Grealish is one of them.
So basically the total opposite of what Scotty Scheffler was talking about.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was so confused because he just scored 2 goals. They beat PSG 3-0. He scored 2 of them, had an assist on the other. And there's a shot of him in the background going, "What the fuck's he doing here? What's he doing here? Why is he here?" And you could see him mouthing out the words. He's like pointing at him. He's like, "What?" Because this is the first trophy that he's had to raise. And Trump's right there. It's just,
well, that doesn't even happen. And we haven't had a situation where no president should do this, where like a champion is being crowned and he comes in. Like you didn't win in that moment. You could take if they want to go to the White House or if you want to do like a separate thing, by all means. But that's reserved for people that are involved with the club. That's ridiculous.
Hey, Derek, by the way.
Hey, Steven.
Did you see that he wants to sign an executive order to call soccer football in the States?
He wants to do what? Oh, yeah, Jesus. No, I didn't see that.
Yep. He says it's football. It's not soccer.
Well, that's going to cause a whole clusterfuck that is going to be very confusing when we refer to football, American football, and soccer and whatever. No, I don't see that happening. All right. I wanted to talk about this. It's not going to happen. What? So you aren't? So now you're a fan, Steven, huh? So something you endorse from Trump.
Listen, man, I could be objective.
Okay.
You know, I can be objective here, and you know, if you're talking about the sport that actually uses their feet or actually appreciates the players that use their feet, because kickers and punters aren't really, you know, beloved, I'd say, unless you're talking about Jano. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the next subject you wanted to talk about? Epstein files?
No, I think that and Dom Peralta, who's usually in the KMBR chat and shit up here tonight. What's up, Dom? Says hop on down to Mar-a-Lago, Derek, and talk shop with Trump. Yeah, I might have to do that. I agree with you. I think it's ridiculous that we call football in America football, but it's been that way since I was a kid, and it's been that way forever. So we're not gonna change it now.
Yeah, that was more to piss you off.
I know. I want to talk about what went on in sports media yesterday and today. We talked about the lawsuit, I guess, with Fox Sports and Joy Taylor and what she told, I guess, the hairdresser, her affiliation with Emmanuel Acho, the sexual relationship reportedly that they had. Allegedly, I should say. And what she said behind closed doors, allegedly. All these are allegations, but basically how she got the job in the first place. And then yesterday, there were mass firings at FS1. And I don't watch any of their programming, to be completely honest. Not that I really love ESPN's programming, but it is better. It feels like a lot of just people paired up with each other and a lot of people that aren't really knowledgeable in their, you know, all the topics that are brought up. But yeah, yesterday, Joy Taylor, Emmanuel Acho, LaShawn McCoy, Chase Daniel, James Jones, Paul Pierce, Mark Schlereth, and Craig Carden were all fired from SF1. Basically, all of the shows on FS1 not named the Colin Cowherd Show and whatever show Nick writes on.
First things first.
First things first. And the people that were left, I guess, are Keyshawn Johnson may get his own show, and Danny Parkins may get his own show. The facility show with Emmanuel Acho and LaShawn McCoy and Chase Daniel and James Jones, I never watched it, but it's very difficult. They were trying to copy Good Morning Football and have a year-round football show, and that's just hard to replicate. I have immense respect for Chase Daniel. I think he's extremely knowledgeable about the game. He will be picked up by some other network. He should honestly stay at FS1 if they want to use him still. He does a great job on the Scoop City podcast with Diana Rossini. Emmanuel Acho, look, he speaks very well, but he also has like a very condescending way that he talks about things, and he gets made fun of constantly. And nothing to do with what happened with Joy Taylor. If they had a sexual relationship, whatever. There's been rumors about ESPN personalities having the same thing. But I will say with Joy Taylor, I never was really a fan of hers. And if all those things are true, that she basically was having a sexual relationship with the head of the network and she was going to use it against him if it ever came back, or that it came out to the world, and that's disgusting. And she also had a very condescending tone about how she talked about things. I thought her take on the whole Aaron Rodgers thing of why he hasn't shown up for minicamp when he wasn't even signed with the team was ridiculous. So, good luck to her, but that was bound to happen with everything that was going on with her and the allegations. So I didn't think she was the greatest talent in the world. I think a lot of people that lost their jobs yesterday were actually pretty talented. I think Mark Schlereth is pretty good. Paul Pierce, and when you ask him anything but basketball, the bottom line is FS1 is just not my cup of tea. And I'll get to what they did today, Stephen, but just your thoughts on what happened yesterday with all the firings.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say because I never watched it.
Yeah.
I've watched First Things First, and I'm one of the few. Like, I'm going to pull up that one Norman Rockwell painting where the guy is standing in the middle of the group because he's the only one that has this opinion. But I actually really like Nick Wright. I think he does a tremendous job. Does he kind of glaze the Chiefs and maybe come up with takes that are agenda driven? Sure. But I also think he's actually very measured if you hear him talking about anything else. It's just when you only hear him talk about that one topic, then you're going to think that's how he is. But I actually think that show with him, I think Kevin Wildes is really good. One of the more underrated personalities in sports media. Chris Broussard's good. Chris Broussard's been around for a while. He's long-winded, but he's pretty good. They work well as a trio. I don't know. Colin Cowherd, a lot's been said about him, but he's kind of like the Bill Simmons of FS1, it feels like, where he's kind of the foremost voice. And I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of his show, but he's really popular, and he's like the new guy that you talked about, Danny Parkins, is like a Colin Cowherd disciple. He was doing sports talk radio in Chicago, I think with 670 the score. And Colin Cowherd said he was like the next big thing. So I'm not surprised if Danny Parkins is going to stick around either. I just think what they need is they need to stop going with former players and hire some actual insiders, reporters, people who do more than just give takes on the game. Like, get people who provide context. Brian Windhorst brought this up with the NBA on NBC. They got a lot of former players, but they don't have any insiders on there. And it may sound like he's just salty because he's still at ESPN, where it's just nothing but hot takes, and he's clearly unhappy with the direction that they're going. And it does sound like he's salty, but at the same time, he has a point. Like, they do need someone there that kind of can give you the ins and outs and kind of give you a more objective take. Cause all of those guys, they have this unconscious bias as former players. They do.
Yeah. I mean, they have a big one in Jake Glazer, but Jake Glazer's not really in the breaking news department anymore. He was back in the day, but if they really want to challenge Schefter, I would say, Fox tell Jake Glazer to start breaking news,
or or someone that's on the up and up. I don't know who that is, but ESPN's going full on with their NBA reporters and their NFL analysis and all that. And I think they're doing a pretty good job when it comes to those sports outside when they are the specialized shows. I'm not talking about Pat McAfee or, First Take, but Fox Sports needs to change something, man. Cause their programming is it's kind of brutal when it's not football.
Well, it's been reported today by Andrew Merced of The Athletic, or Merced, that their plan is to go with Barstool Sports. And this is basically in direct competition with what ESPN's doing with Pat McAfee. The plan is to basically put Dave Portnoy and what's his name? The dude from Pardon My Take? Big Cat, that they're going to have their own shows. And Dave Portnoy is going to go to the Big Noon Kickoff to rival Pat McAfee. That is what, as we were talking about at the top of the show with McAfee being on ESPN, that's the way that sports media is trending, is to get the YouTube guys or the podcasters and put them on TV. At the same time, I know Dave Portnoy's style, and I am a fan of the pizza reviews. He is a highly controversial guy, and he already has his opinions about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese that has stirred up controversy. As long as he sticks to sports, then by all means, this is a unique decision. If it goes into politics, he's going to piss off a ton of people. I think he'll piss off a ton of people regardless, but Fox never cares about that stuff. So this is very, very interesting. And I don't really have a strong opinion on it. I just know that it's probably going to be highly controversial.
Well, as sports talk moves or sports networks move from the journalism business into the entertainment business, well, you can't really argue that those guys, like Part of My Take or even Dave Portnoy, they are at the top. They are at the height of the sports entertainment business and have kind of created this new faction of fans. Is it going to make sports fans smarter? No. Actually, I think sports fans are going to be dumber than ever. But this is what it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Like if they feel like they got a certain demographic they need to bring in, then by all means do it. I just feel bad for the older guys, the older generation that actually enjoys, I don't know, big noon kickoff where Dave Portnoy is going to be the centerpiece of it. I think Pat McAfee's been a tremendous addition to College Game Day. I don't think you can argue against that. If you do, then you probably just haven't watched it or you just don't like it. But, you know, I don't know. Barstool's like at the top, and I'm not surprised. Part of My Take does deserve to get a little more national praise that's outside of the podcast realm. But I'll be honest, their show gets very redundant. Like I listen to it and I'll listen to it for like 2 months and I'll think it's hilarious, but then you kind of get bored of it after. I do. I love those guys. I think they're great, but you know, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just how I take my listener stuff where I just can't take things for more than like 2 months at a time, but it's, you know, it gets old. It gets old after a while.
Yeah, I mean, if I was FS1, I would have just taken that show. Like I'm assuming Part of My Take does a live stream.
No.
Oh, they don't?
No, they're on camera, but they don't do a live stream.
Oh, I mean, I would have taken those two guys. I would have taken Big Cat and PFT Commenter and put them on Fox. Dave Portnoy, I mean, he covers a lot of things. Like, you know, it's not just sports with him, so it's going to get dicey. You know, there's a lot of talented people out there. Like Tony Reale just lost his job with Around the Horn, so I thought maybe that was something they're going to do, but not the avenue they want to go. I don't think Dan Le Batard would ever work on FS1 with Colin Cowherd. So yeah, this is what they're doing.
Yeah, man, they're taking over.
Yes, they are. On that note, I wanted to play a few clips before we end the show. So while we were on for the last, coming up on 2 hours here, this ESPYs were going on, and I'm not a fan of the ESPYs whatsoever. I think it's kind of a ridiculous award show, to be completely honest. It's like the MTV Movie Awards for sports. Don Peralta, thank you for dropping in, buddy. He's leaving right now. But, you know, I think the same thing of the NFL awards, the NFL honors, like just give the athletes the awards. Like it's so awkward to have them do speeches and everything for this award show and act like it's an Oscars or an Emmys or a Golden Globes or any of that shit. But Shane Gillis, who's a huge sports fan, was hosting the ESPYs tonight, and I didn't know how this was going to go. He is a hilarious comedian, but we've seen him do monologues for SNL, and it kind of get mixed reactions. He definitely appeals to a certain comedy fan, but in today's age of people being PC, he's not for everybody. So I wondered how he was going to go about his monologue, and we've seen in recent years.
Hang on, sorry.
No, you're good. Steph Curry hosts the show, and I forget who else. Athletes really did this in recent years. And it went the safe route because no one wants to piss off, people that are, athletic and don't want to get their ass kicked. But I always think of Norm, almost 30 years ago, having an epic ESPYs monologue where he made fun of Tiger Woods and John Elway and, O.J. Simpson, talking about Charles Woodson getting the Heisman, and something they can never take away from you unless you kill a waiter and her lover. So this is let's just play a few. This is Shane Gillis and some of his riffs tonight during the ESPYs.
When Caitlin Clark retires from the WNBA, she's going to work at a Waffle House. so she can continue doing what she loves most, fist fighting black women.
I mean, I know like some people are gonna like not be outraged by this, but be like, what the hell? It's comedy at the end of the day. And I think like we're all saying things. I mean, he's saying things that we're all kind of thinking. That's what comedy is. So I have no issue. That's a funny joke.
I'm into it, man.
Yeah.
Look, he's the biggest thing going in comedy right now, whether you love it or you hate it. And this is what comedians are supposed to do. They're supposed to elicit some sort of reaction. If everyone loved him, he'd probably be really boring.
Exactly.
Yeah. Here we go.
To host this award show so that I could
hang on. There we go.
Joe Rogan actually wanted me to be here to host this award show so that I could capture Adam Silver because Joe thinks he's an alien. And Donald Trump wanted me to be here to capture Juan Soto for the same reason. It's an alien joke. What are you boot up there, dude? Shut up.
You know what? I don't know if he's like a good award show guy because he's just a different type of comedian. So like he's just kind of awkward if the joke doesn't land. He just kind of makes a face and be like, "All right, well, I didn't write that joke. Screw you guys."
Yeah.
But he's funny. Yeah, another one like the one he tells about the WNBA player in the crowd is hilarious.
I got the other Donald Trump one.
Yeah, go for it.
Donald Trump wants to stage a UFC fight on the White House lawn. The last time he staged a fight in D.C., Mike Pence almost died. All right. You don't have to do that. It was fine. I didn't write it. Supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that.
Simone Biles liked that one.
Oh, God. It's good.
No, it is good. And, you know, like I said the other day, I think that we are changing things for the better. But at the same time, we can all laugh. We can all make jokes about things. Do we got another one?
I got like 3 more, dude.
Yeah, let's play them.
All right. Where's this one? This was taken on the TV, so the audio might suck. Here we go.
4-time WNBA All Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players.
Yeah, that's
his buddy from the podcast, right?
Yeah, that's the shaman.
Nice. That is absolutely hilarious. That's
Matt McCusker. He's great.
That is extremely well done.
Yeah.
No one's gonna say otherwise. Like, let's clap along, and that's pretty good.
Hang on. I got more. Okay, and I don't even know what this one's about. Oh, it's KAT. All right, it's Karl Anthony Towns.
The New York Knicks had a great season. Yeah, hell yeah. Karl Anthony Towns is here. Hey, girl.
Yeah, that's very Norm-esque. Where years ago when Norm did this in 1998, he had like a whole thing where Will Ferrell as Harry Carey came out and he's like, "Hey, John Elway just won the Super Bowl. Why don't you go nuts and get those teeth fixed?"
Well, but the Karl Anthony Towns thing, like, I think he would have been immune to that joke already because, like, there was the New York Talking Heads thing that just went around New York asking people to do their best Karl Anthony Towns impression.
Yeah, exactly.
And all of them were like, "Hey, that's a foul. The SEC." And they were all doing the same thing. I have a feeling I hope he's laughing at it now because dude, it's how you sound. Like,
yeah,
that's it. All right.
There's one thing I want to say before I get out of here. This dumb joke, you guys aren't gonna like it, but it's just a Norm Macdonald joke that I loved when he hosted the ESPYs. I'm gonna do it now. Travis Hunter won the Heisman Trophy this year. He's the first defensive player since Charles Woodson to win the Heisman. Congratulations, Travis Hunter, winning the Heisman. That's something they can never take away from you, unless you kill your wife and a waiter. in which case they can take that away from you. Well, see, a lot of you don't like me, and that's okay.
You know what? Perfect timing with Travis Hunter getting the award. Even though his delivery wasn't as good as Norm, and nobody's will ever be because Norm has a very unique delivery. Very good ode to Norm. So yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of people tomorrow will complain about this thing. The fact that he hosted, it's comedy. It's way better than Steph Curry trying to do comedy or any of these other athletes doing it. Leave it to the professionals. I'm a fan of Shane Gillis.
Yeah, I am too. I am going to play just one more thing.
Okay.
And it's from their podcast, him and Matt McCusker's Matt and Shane's Secret podcast. It's the podcast that Saturday Night Live went back to when they decided to fire him because they saw him making some, I don't know, whatever, politically incorrect impressions. But there's this bit. It's my favorite bit that's ever been done. The shaman, Matt McCusker, brought home a new flute.
What's up, bro? What's happening?
What's going on here, Matt?
Chilling, dude. Just fucking,
What's all this mumbo jumbo you've gotten yourself into, dude?
You talking about my sebzi, bro?
What is this?
It's my sebzi. It's a ceremonial hash pipe from Morocco. It's not a big deal, dude. We've obviously.
You seem to be making a big deal out of it.
I'm not making. I'm just setting it out, dude. Ceremoniously, it's a nice piece, dude. I always want to show it off.
Well, I'll tell you something, man. I don't like it.
Some of us prize fast cars, dude. This is my stuff. This is what I ball out.
What
on.
is this?
The fucking high spirits, dude. Key of G minor, 432 hertz. See it on the insignia. Rainbow moonstone with the exact ripple that 432 makes on water or sand. I'm fly as hell, dude. You hate it.
What is the top there?
This piece is called the fetish. This is what gives it its voice. So if you were to slide this thing back, it would throw off the whole sound. It has to be placed in the proper place. Billy was talking some mess about my flute.
I heard you got yours off Amazon.
Not Amazon. It's from High Spirits. It's a reputable dealer.
It was a colonial.
Yeah, it's so stupid. 432 hertz.
What's this? What's the name of the podcast again?
Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast.
That's right. Okay, I definitely have seen a ton of clips, and I need to check it out more.
You're great.
All right, man. That's all I got for tonight. Steven, anything else?
No. What time is it? I gotta cook dinner. God.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. I can see my mom is asleep on the couch right now and waiting for me to watch a show with her. So
Oof.
I'm gonna go do that.
Sorry, Mom. Damn.
She'll be okay. I paid for dinner. She'll be fine. All right. Thanks everybody in the chat tonight. I am not going to be around for the weekend. I'm going to Austin, Texas to hang out with some college buddies. So Steven might do his first show without me.
Yeah, we'll be back on Sunday at noon. We're bringing the great Ryan Mauser onto Just Your Opinion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he'll be getting his I think he's getting his podcast back up and ready. Catching him right before a Spartan race, which he's getting ready for. As I get called JD Vance and AJ Przinsky, this dude's getting ready to do like some rough and tumble fitness thing. So we're getting Mauser. He's a big Seahawks guy. I mean, I'm not going to try and talk too much Seahawks with him, but he's also a big Giants guy too. And I think he works in radio in Seattle. He's one of those guys where we share stuff nonstop to each other, like on Instagram or Twitter, but we never ask how each other's doing, where it's one of those relationships.
Sweet. I look forward to that immensely. So Ryan Mauser, who I worked with a little bit at 95.7 The Game back in the day, joining Steven on Sunday. Check that out at noon, Steven?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I look forward to that. And then I guess I'll be back on with you next Wednesday. So the training camp will be starting up, I think, for all 32 teams by then. So, yeah. Awesome. All right. So everybody in the chat tonight, to Rocka New Era, to Lauren F., to Don Peralta, thanks for stopping by. Always fun to have someone from the KMBR chat join this chat. To Pat H, to Tacky for a little bit of time to tell me eat shit. To Ernie 1, and I believe that's it. All right, everybody, join Steven on Sunday with Ryan Mauser. Steven, say what you always say.
It is just our opinion. Hell